Greetings! Welcome back to another episode of the Real Take Podcast. We're on episode 8, and I'm joined by my fact checker here on the intro. Say hello.
Hello.
Hello. And, and we have, I don't know if I said episode 8 or not. You guys have got to be getting tired of me talking by now.
We are.
We are joined, well, not really joined. Weeks ago, we were joined by Ethan J. Norman when we talked about, oh, golly jeepers, we talked about many a thing. 2009 was the flashback year we chit-chatted about. And, well, I won't tell you our answers, but they're very solid movies from 2009, so you'll enjoy that. Our franchise battle was, do you remember what that was, Miss Fact Checker? You
don't quiz me on
okay,
things like
James
this.
Bond. Good to know our fact checker has all the facts straight.
It's been a day since I've listened to it.
James Bond 007.
You guys didn't get anything incorrect about that.
Oh, that's amazing. Maybe we didn't talk about it very long. But it was a good conversation, so keep listening. And we also talked about Christian Bale on the Who They Play Best. And that was fun. And then we talked about a bunch of other stuff in the guest take. Ethan had lots of skeletons in his closet to reveal.
You sound like a really excited little kid to be sharing this.
Really excited. I'm very excited. Everyone, continue listening. Do not stop, press pause, or take a bathroom break. Just listen right on through. Roll on through this sucker. It's not that long. And I think we're ready. Here it is, episode 8, Ethan J. Norman.
She's a killer queen.
Sweet. Are you excited about the Queen movie? What's it called?
Oh, yeah, that's like my favorite band.
Bohemian Rhapsody is the name of it, right?
Yeah. I forgot who's playing. I don't know. I don't recognize the actor, but he looked like Freddie.
Yeah. Oh, dude,
He actually had to sing in front of the original Queen members.
Oh.
Like before they said he was good.
So I'm going to pull this away from you, Ted.
Okay, that's cool.
It's picking it up really well. So,
Excellent.
So I looked up his name yesterday, and I knew I have seen him on something. I can't remember what it is, though. The main guy that plays the...
Can't think of his name.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I mean, Freddie was Iranian, born in Africa, so...
Right. What I read yesterday was crazy. The other, and I forget who he plays in the movie, but one of the lead actors is played by Timothy from Jurassic Park.
Really?
The kid, little Tim. You know, the little kid that gets shocked on the thing? He's like one of the main actors in Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, really?
I wish I could remember what his name is, what his character's name, but anyway, that looks good.
There are a few guys they wanted to play Freddie, but I think Russell Brand was one who...
Yeah.
That would have been fun.
That dude's wacko, but I like him.
But they wanted somebody who was a little lesser known, I guess.
I suppose. Yeah, and I want to say it's like Remy or something.
Remy, that sounds right.
Anyway, we can go ahead and get started here. So we have a flashback year coming at you from 2009, taking you back 9 years. How old were you in 2009?
I was 18 going on 19.
That's interesting. I was also the same age. It's funny how that works when you're born 48 hours apart.
Literally,
in the same hospital. What was going on in 2009? Well, for the NBA championship, the Lakers won that. Do you remember who they played? Celtics?
Oh,
Magic?
Yes, I think it was or it might have been the Magic, because that's when Dwight Howard, single-handedly got the Magic to the finals.
Right. I'll have to look that up. Yeah. It was one of them, I'm pretty sure. Baseball, Yankees. So who'd they play in 2009?
The Philadelphia Phillies, who were going for a repeat because they beat the Tampa Bay Rays the year before.
Dang. You bummed out? But the Phillies didn't win?
A little bit. Their fans are monsters at times. Though I also have friends out there, so I was rooting for them because of my friends. And also, when I was a kid, the Yankees won. They were like 3 straight in the early 90s. Mm-hmm. No, late 90s, because that's when they had Jeter. It was the Diamondbacks finally beat them in 2001 that they finally got their streak snapped. So I've seen the Yankees win enough in my lifetime.
Yeah. Yes, they certainly have. Moving on to football, so the Steelers won, and do you remember that? I was at your house for part of this. The Steelers against the Cardinals with the freaking Fitzgerald touchdown, and he He scored with too much time left, and then that stupid pass in the end zone in the corner. Not happy.
One of the best catches I've seen. I was kind of...
What was his name? Holmes?
Priest Holmes, that sounds right.
I don't like that guy.
I don't like the Steelers.
I was rooting for Fitzgerald and Warner with the Cardinals, and then, of course.
I know some people here were rooting for the Cardinals because, before they were the Arizona Cardinals, they were the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah.
So plus, I think some people, even though they were salty about them leaving, were kind of rooting for them for old time's sake.
Yeah, plus Warner with the history in St. Louis.
Kurt Warner, that too.
So
there's two good reasons if you're from Missouri and watching that.
The U.S. president was Barack Obama. He'd been in office for a little over a year. Best-selling album of 2009 was Fearless by Taylor Swift. Are you a T Swift fan?
She's growing on me. My brother has a crush on her.
Yeah,
he has Taylor Swift. I have Lauren.
Has.
He likes Taylor Swift. I like Lauren Mayberry from Churches. So that's his celebrity crush.
Own celebrity crushes.
I do.
I'm gonna say one thing about her before we move on is I'm not a fan of her recent stuff. I like more of her older, like more original stuff. But
I thought "Look What You Made Me Do" was kind of catchy. And I'm not a big Kanye fan, so it's like, okay, this is not Kanye.
I guess. Well, average cost of 2009, a gallon of gas was $2.65. So, I mean, that's actually pretty close to what it is right now, and at least here. That was the average across the country. Average cost of a movie ticket was $7.50. That's definitely lower. What do you think the average cost is now? I thought it just cut out again.
I don't know.
It didn't.
I think the average movie tickets are probably about $10 now.
Yeah.
At least maybe 12, depending on the day.
I can look it up because I do a little fact check thing here at the end of every episode and look up kind of stuff we couldn't remember. I'm just not sure. So here in Cape, it's I think an average matinee is like 11. I don't know what it would be nationwide, but I would imagine it's pretty close to that. So yeah, tickets keep rising up. But the good thing about tickets is some of the theaters do get nicer, so you kind of get more of what you pay for with the seats and the food and all that. So it balances out, I suppose. Popular movies from 2009. We're going to cover a number of those. So Up, very sad animated Pixar movie. Star Trek, Zombieland, District 9, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, X-Men Origins Wolverine, Transformers 2, Revenge of the Fallen, Where the Wild Things Are, Twilight, New Moon, and Terminator Salvation, just to name some of them. Do any of those strike out to you? Anything that you really enjoyed from that list?
I definitely enjoyed District 9. I didn't know a lot about South Africa, and that was kind of a
little freaky to me.
It was freaky at times.
Yeah.
His arms turning into an alien. It was different.
Yeah,
but it felt like an indie movie, but it had like the special effects of like of a blockbuster.
It was like a well done indie.
Well done indie movie, yeah.
Have you seen Where the Wild Things Are?
I read the book incessantly in high school, or not high school, elementary school.
Oh, I've never seen it. It looks interesting.
I haven't seen the movie.
Transformers, you a fan of those? That's franchise?
1 and 2, yes. I haven't seen any since. They're just kind of repetitive. It's like, you got these two alien races and, hey, I don't like you and you don't like me. Let's go to Earth and duke it out. And, of course, we're going to duke it out in Los Angeles or New York.
Right.
The second one was in the desert. I guess that was fair.
I guess that's okay. I really enjoyed the first one. I thought the first one was really cool, but we're covering 2009, which is the second one, so I would say that was a little bit less good. And the third one was, to me, about the same as the second one. It was just kind of, it didn't have the same, initial shock kind of, I was a really big fan when I first saw it in 2007, and then this one just okay. Up. Did you cry in Up?
I never saw Up.
You didn't see Up? Okay, fair enough.
Maybe that's why, because maybe at the time I just wasn't into the sad stuff. Now I probably love it.
When you're 18, you don't want to cry.
Yeah, when you're 18. Now I'll definitely watch it, hopefully soon.
You an X-Men fan?
Yeah, I like X-Men.
What did you think have you seen the Origins Wolverine in 2009?
Yeah, that was a good one.
I liked it. It did not do well box office, like critiquing people, critics, whatever, weren't so happy. But I really liked it. It's actually one of my favorite, probably my favorite of all.
Yeah, because like in X2, they kind of covered his origin, Wolverine's.
Yeah.
This one, was more in depth and showed you his origin,
which I really liked about it. There are a lot of good actors in that. Oddly enough, Will.i.am was in that. I read that they were changing the script or didn't have the script finished, and they had a weird timing schedule with it. And they were filming, I believe, in Australia, and they were getting like
faxed and emailed scripts overnight from like the night before about their script for the next day with like rewrites and stuff. Well, I watched an interview with will.i.am. He was saying how crazy it was, like trying to learn his lines right before they shot. So it sounded a little bit crazy in the way that they had production issues, but I really liked it.
Which is ironic because the movie takes place in Canada and the U.S., I think.
Yeah, I think it's Canada. Yeah, with Hugh Jackman being
because Wolverine's Canadian.
In the woods of there. Yeah. I thought it sounded like they overcame quite a bit of hardships there. Another thing that was cool about Wolverine with all this Deadpool talk the last couple years, that was the first time we got to see Ryan Reynolds. He looked a lot different, but that was basically what he was, Deadpool at the end. They mixed them up and mixed all the superheroes characters, and then they always said that he'd be the perfect hero or perfect villain or whatever if he couldn't talk, because he talked too much.
That's
so
right.
They sewed his mouth shut. But thought that was interesting. Moving on, so we're gonna cover my top 3. So those were just some of the popular ones, and here's my top 3 from that year. The Blind Side, number 3, was Sandra Bullock, Tim McGraw, Quentin Aaron was who played Michael Orr. Did you see Blind Side?
I did. It's definitely a classic. It's maybe a little overplayed, over talked about, but it's a good story.
Yeah, I would say it's fair to say that there are a lot of people with cool stories like that. A lot of maybe not quite that extreme with like extremely wealthy people helping out a player and then the player actually achieving, going to college and succeeding and making it to the NFL. So that doesn't happen every day. But I would say there are a number of stories that people could talk about with. The kid has a rough home life and all that, and someone kind of helps him out. So I don't know. I would say that it was a little dramatized, I suppose, but I thought it was really good as a movie and as a story. I mean, the guy's been in the NFL for like 10 years, so
he has a Super Bowl ring. He had a pretty good career, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Best ever,
can't take that away from him.
But
right,
he was in the NFL. That's more than a lot of people can say.
Exactly, and I thought Tim McGraw played it good. He was the father of the family that adopted him.
I cannot recognize him without that goatee.
Yeah.
Or the cowboy hat.
Without
either.
Cowboy hat. No, I thought he actually, as much as I'm not a big country fan, and his music is fine, whatever, but his acting I was actually impressed with. Sandra Bullock, I also thought she did really good in this. I like her character a lot. So yeah, that just when I think of 2009 movies, for sure that one sticks out to me. Number 2, The Hangover. So yeah,
the story of my life.
There's a slight story behind it. So Bradley Cooper, Zach Galifianakis, Ed Helms, Ken Jeong, love that guy. He's a doctor. He's you knew that about Ken Jeong? He's he actually certified in the state of California as he's not practicing anymore, but he does have a license.
Well, most Asians are doctors. So.
That's right. He's older than I thought. I just looked at his age. I forget. I don't want to say the wrong age, but he's older than I thought he was. But he's a freaking practicing doctor. Also, cool story. Recently, just earlier this year, he's a stand-up comic. So he was in this bar, in this comedy club or something, and somebody had a seizure in this crowd. And at first, he thought that they were teasing him, making noise, heckling. And then he realized that this lady was actually having a seizure. So he jumps off stage. He's telling jokes. He jumps off stage. There's also a medic, a nurse or EMT or somebody in the crowd. So they both help the person who's having a seizure. And it was a cool story. So he finished until the EMTs got there, and then he got back on stage and finished telling jokes. So that was kind of cool.
It's got to be hard to get back on stage and tell jokes after something.
Yeah, after someone has a medical emergency, and then you got to be funny on stage again. But anyway, that was a cool little side story about Ken Jeong. So in the movie, he's ridiculous. This was the first, and again, I feel the same way about The Hangovers as I mentioned about the Transformers movies. The first one was really good, funny, kind of not, I wouldn't say first of its kind, but sort of ish. I mean, that kind of comedy. Especially with those guys. I mean, don't you think they played well with each other?
They played off each other well.
The cast.
You believe that they were friends.
Yeah.
They seem like they would be friends in real life and do shenanigans such as what we saw in the movies.
Yeah, for sure. I like when you can actually buy into the characters and see that it looks like they're actually friends in real life. First time I saw this movie was at your house or your family's house. We had a friend out of town, no last names here, but we had a friend named Rob come in, and this was my first experience drinking much. So we decided, hey, we were golfing in your house. I don't remember why, but we were golfing and watching this movie and drinking a little bit.
We were. That
you
was.
say?
That's what I was saying. The first time I saw Hungover, I was drunk. So.
Yeah.
I was not hungover the next morning because
you were trying to get hungover.
I was okay. I was underage and I didn't get hangovers until maybe
we were the same age. So
a few years ago, I started getting them.
Yeah. So that was my kind of first. But what a fun night. I mean, the first time we were watching that, and I'm not a drinker. I was slightly intoxicated.
So you're the one.
And Ethan was slightly more intoxicated. But it was a really good time. The movie itself, I don't mean to get caught up in side stories, but the movie itself I thought was hilarious. Lots of fun stuff. Definitely worth mentioning from 2009. I'm going to get to my number one now. Number one is Avatar, directed by James Cameron, starring Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana, Sigourney Weaver. Fun fact, James Cameron has two, and I think I mentioned this in another podcast, but he has the top two highest grossing movies of all time.
He knows how to make blockbusters. Titanic, Titanic is how I discovered the female body. Wink, wink. But
good for you. 1997. There you go. 6 years old. That's what they look like. All right.
Yeah, so that's what those are. Yeah, but it was a good movie.
You saw it in theaters, I suppose. Yeah.
No, I saw it on VHS.
VHS. What's that? What about Avatar? Did you like Avatar?
I did. That was the first 3D movie I'm glad I paid for.
3D.
The way it looked in 3D was beautiful.
Yeah.
When Zoe Saldana touches the flowers and they
light up.
Yeah, that
go crazy.
That's wow.
Yeah, and I don't mean to repeat myself if you've listened to the episode with Brandon, but we talked about a little bit about movie costs in the box office, the franchise, how they rank, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. I don't like the fact that Avatar is ranked so much higher above all the other movies because of the cost. And the issue is, I think they should be ranked in tickets sold, not as in cost. And here's the reason, like you said, you mentioned 3D. That's the first 3D movie I'm glad you paid for. 3D movies cost more. There's just a higher cost because they jack it up $4 or $5. And when you add that to your ticket, I mean, yes, that is a good thing for the production companies to do. Yes, they do that on purpose, and they know what they're doing. And it is good. You got to get more with what you pay for. However, when you have that ranked with other movies, I don't feel like it's a fair estimation of how well a movie did. Because it's earned, this is going to be a fact check moment here, but it's earned $600 million or something more than number two in the world, Titanic. So it's kind of crazy. If you change all the tickets to the same price, you can look at a whole different story. Gone with the Wind came out in 1940. In modern day times, with inflation is what's called. So with inflation included on this, it would have made $1.8 billion. But you, of course, never see it on anything because tickets costed 22 cents back then. So
oh yeah, they were a dime at the most.
So it's just, to me, it's not a real fair estimation. But that's nothing against Avatar. Yes, they made it beautiful, like you said, on purpose. And yes, they did put the money into the 3D filming and all that. So I don't know. I'm kind of torn. But anyway,
well, the question is
with my rant aside,
it's when you see movies in 3D, it's is it really worth it?
To me, it's not. But
yeah,
for those, I mean, nothing against
Avatar
those that
was
enjoy
worth
it.
Like I said,
it was one of the few, probably the only movie I can think of that is worth seeing. I don't see anything in 3D anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That may have been
people still do that.
Very rarely. It does happen, and I know of some movies that still come out in 3D, but I know not
that, that was a fad, and I think it just kind of
it was a fad, and it even grew into televisions. I mean, Avatar, it wasn't the first 3D movie by any means, but it was the first huge blockbuster. Again, it is the number one highest grossing of all time, so it really blew up the whole 3D thing, and then television started doing it, and now that's not a thing anymore. Nobody wants to buy a 3D TV. I have one and never use it.
Mm-hmm. I think even not the last World Cup, maybe the one before, they had a 3D channel for the final.
Yeah. Who's going to use that? Even the people with it, like myself, I don't know many people that actually use it. The first 6 months I bought it, which I bought my TV 5 or 6 years ago, I think. I used it a couple times and thought it was cool watching a few movies. I watched 3 or 4 movies.
Yeah, I remember watching, I think, Tintin.
Yeah, we watched Adventures
and that
of Tintin.
looked amazing because, I think with that movie they merged real action filming with.
They did.
3D.
You're right. I love Tintin. Yeah.
So
it sounds like a little
good,
kid movie, but Yeah, and you're right. Avatar would be one of the few I would watch in 3D still. But anyway, that is my number one. I want to ask you, do you have a favorite from 2009? Anything either on my list or not on the list?
Oof, trying to remember. I've drank and slept since then.
Yeah.
I definitely liked Terminator Salvation wasn't bad. I hadn't seen the other Terminators until recently, so like as someone who'd never seen it before, it wasn't a bad action movie.
Oh yeah. That was the one that. Well, we're going to talk about him a little bit later, but that Christian Bale kind of lost his mind on set a little. Do you remember that video?
Yeah, I remember that.
Or it was an audio clip, I guess.
I think it had a lot to do with. It was shortly after Heath Ledger had died, and they had been on Dark Knight before.
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe he was having some issues dealing with that, and he just snapped on.
Could be.
But also, I mean, as a film student, I mean, if I'm filming something and someone is trying to adjust something after I've already said action, yeah, I might have some words with that person. I might not berate them like Christian Bale did, but I'm gonna.
For anyone that isn't familiar with this story, they're filming Terminator Salvation, and I believe his name was Shane, but I can look that up later. I think he was adjusting lights. Was it? It was a sound crew guy.
I want to say he was adjusting a light.
Something. Maybe it was lights. He's light crew. Anyway, you got a crew member was adjusting something while they're filming, and he kind of like walked within view, and Christian Bale lost his mind. He's just yelling. I mean, I would love to get an F word count on the 30 minute. I think it was more of his just going insane.
Yeah, I think he was a character, and he's trying to talk, and he's looking at somebody.
Yeah.
Like, what the F are you doing?
Yeah. I mean, if I can understand someone getting into a role and kind of getting invested, and you kind of lose yourself in that a bit. But still, what he did, yeah. I mean, he's been forgiven and it's past, and he apologized, and so all is well now. But it was quite news story at the time.
I think it made a little more attention than the actual movie did.
Probably, yeah.
No, it's another Terminator.
Maybe it helped Maybe it helped get attention for the movie. But anyway, it is time to move on to our franchise battle. So this will be fun. Franchise battle today is the James Bond movies. However, we are limiting it to the Daniel Craig series. So we got 4 movies to discuss. Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, and Spectre. I've watched all of these, I think, with you. But I watched 2 of them in theaters with you. I know for sure, Skyfall and Spectre. So, first of all, do you remember what you thought when Casino Royale was coming out? I want to say 2006, I believe is when that came out. Were you a big Bond fan? Like, did you like the Pierce Brosnan ones? And
I didn't really like Pierce Brosnan, but he wasn't a terrible Bond. He was just more of a shooter gadget guy.
Yeah. So, but in general, did you like James Bond? Like as a kid, like was that a kind of a cool?
Yeah, my dad was a big fan, and
cool.
I tried to watch what I could, and over time, I was able to watch the old ones, get a feel.
Sure. And then so when Daniel Craig was announced and he comes out with Casino Royale, was that big? Did you see it in theaters, I suppose? Or?
Yeah, I saw it twice in theaters.
So you liked it, I'm assuming, because you saw it twice?
I mean, I don't really do that anymore, but
yeah.
Because sometimes there's stuff you miss when you see a movie the first time, but you see it a second time, and that makes sense now.
I agree. I think it's pretty common now. If I really like a movie, I will more likely see it twice if I really, really like it. It's not too common that I
it's hard for me to go to the theater once, much less twice.
Yeah.
I mean, it costs a lot.
I would say I was less excited about Quantum of Solace. So I also enjoyed Casino Royale, but it wasn't my favorite to me. Personally, I felt like the poker sequence, those scenes involving the poker match, it felt like it was a little draggy to me. I don't know. It's just my opinion, my take on it. But
yeah, and I mean, I've played poker before, not gambling, but just for fun.
For fun, sure.
Yeah, if you get poker, maybe it's okay, but I think the only interesting thing there was where the money that Lashif would have won was going.
Yeah, I felt like for such an action-based flick, or what they were trying to go for, it felt like it was a little draggy. But anyway, a lot of people enjoyed it. It's got an 8 rating on IMDb, so it did really well. And in fact, to be fair about it, is the highest rated on IMDb of the 4 Daniel Craig. So
I think when that came out, wasn't poker like a really big fad then?
Has poker ever been huge? I don't know.
I mean, maybe, for a while it got big because you had the Poker World Tour and other stuff going. So I think the interest in it had peaked.
Maybe it was, yeah.
That might have something to do with it.
That's very possible. 12 years ago, it could have been higher than it is today. Quantum of Solace was a couple years after that, and I was not so impressed with this.
No,
it's the lowest rated on IMDb. By the way,
they tried to continue with what happened in Casino Royale.
Yeah,
and it's like all the James Bond movies, you can watch any one of them and, not have to know the backstory or anything.
Yeah, they're their own standing films. Yeah.
Well, this one, it helped to see Casino Royale. If you just saw Quantum of Solace by itself, you probably would have liked it even less than we did.
Right. Yeah, so definitely not the best. But, in my opinion, they more than made up for it in Skyfall. This is the second highest rated, 7.8 on IMDb. But for me personally, I'd put it at a 12 because I love this movie. Sam Mendes directed this, and so he did not do Casino Royale or Quantum of Solace, but he did do Spectre as well. Now Spectre, not so much for me. I saw that with you. You liked it, or just kind of halfway?
Spectre I think it was good. There were a few moments where it's like, oh, come on. Like, MI6 blows up and he comes out and escapes the blast with a jet ski, and I'm like, where'd that come from?
Yeah. See, I get a little... I felt like, and I'm going to get back to Skyfall here, but Spectre was a little over the top, and I'm okay with over the top most times. I mean, it's James Bond.
I love Christoph Waltz, but it's trying to continue this story.
I like Christoph Waltz, and I like Dave Bautista, and I actually thought Dave Bautista did a really good job in that. But Christoph Waltz, I don't know, something about him. The last thing I saw him in, not now, but before I had seen Spectre, I recently had watched, unfortunately, The Green Hornet, and he's like, the Seth Rogen silly superhero movie, and it's terrible. I mean, it's awful, and Christoph Waltz plays a villain in that, but he's like a goofy villain, and it's a silly movie. So to see him go from that to like a more serious, like try to take him serious kind of feel to it, I couldn't do it. I couldn't buy into it.
He'd also been the villain in Inglourious Basterds, which...
I didn't see that. Okay.
I didn't see it either. It was critically acclaimed.
Okay.
I mean, I think he won an Oscar for it.
Wow.
Even at the Oscars, they joked like, Christoph, you play a character where you're hunting down Jews. Well, Christoph, they point to the audience at the Oscars because a lot of people in Hollywood are Jewish.
Sure.
Here you are.
Here you go.
Mother load.
That's funny. I didn't really care for that one near as much as previously. I was disappointed in Spectre, but mainly because I enjoyed Skyfall so much. So, and that's what I was getting at. Was Skyfall was 2012, and it was fitting with a lot of stuff in technology. So 2012, there's a lot of even now. Obviously, we still have security and privacy issues, but in 2012, it was a little more new and fresh. And people were just kind of getting the idea of that, I think, with technology kind of maybe going a bit too far. It was starting, to lead to that. And it was very well timed, I would say, the story, because it's talking about, technology taking over. And the villain, played by Javier Bardem, is hacking into Judi Dench's Agent M, into her computer, and there's a lot of that kind of stuff, taking over with everyone's technology and watching the world and privacy and all that good stuff. So I thought, number one, that was one thing it had going for it. Number two, I don't feel like there were as many outrageous, over-the-top moments in Skyfall. I thought it was a lot more believable for a James Bond film. Like, obviously within the James Bond universe, I guess you could say, it seemed a whole lot more believable than other ones, in my opinion.
Even that one, the movie starts with James Bond getting shot.
Yeah.
Which never happens.
Never happens, yeah. So everybody was like, what the crap? We're 5 minutes in and he's dead. This is not possible. And then, of course, you find out he's not dead. But it looks like he's dead. Now, that's funny you bring that up right after I say believable. So I would say that's the least believable thing maybe in the movie is he gets shot and falls 200 feet into a...
Yeah.
Whatever, waterfall or river or whatever it was. So that wasn't so much believable, but the rest of it I thought, it's just not as crazy as the others. So that's my thought on it. So Skyfall.
I know when we saw that, you and your wife had never seen James Bond, so I was like, oh, you guys are in for a treat. But I was also worried because it's like the last two were okay.
I've seen James Bond, but I don't know that I had seen. I know I hadn't seen Quantum of Solace. And maybe I hadn't seen all of Casino Royale. I'd seen the Pierce Brosnan ones, but yeah, you're right. I hadn't seen Daniel Craig in it at the time in theater. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So I was really impressed, and that was the first Daniel Craig one I did see in theaters. So yeah, that was extra cool for me.
That's probably the best one. So I think you start off with a good one because it made you want to watch it.
Yeah, and then I'm just 3 times over disappointed. But that's in the franchise battle. So I usually pick a winner, hence the name Battle. So for me, it's Skyfall. That is the winner of those 4 for me. Do you have a favorite? Is it also?
Yeah, I gotta go with Skyfall.
Skyfall, yeah.
I would watch Casino Royale again, and maybe I need to watch Spectre again, but I
started before we move on. I do want to say I started watching Spectre again like maybe a year ago. So I watched it in theaters with you in 2015, and then not too long ago, and I didn't finish it.
Do we know anything about the next Bond movie?
It's the 25th one in this franchise. That's really all I know. I don't know if Sam Mendes is directing. I can look that up. Yeah, I'm really not for sure. All I know is Daniel Craig said he wanted to go out with bang, and
Spectre was not a bang.
No, he said he wanted to finish the series off well. So he did agree to it, and I'm sure they paid him quite nicely.
He's a very private person, so like he doesn't seem like the type that would go out like that.
Yeah, he seems like he actually cares about his acting and not just. I mean, obviously, people that are acting are into the money, but I don't think he's one of the worst sides of actors that go in just for the money. I do think he cares about his work. But anyway, so we are moving on to the guest take. So this is one of my favorite segments. I don't have to talk as much, so that's always nice. 10 questions. This is how it works. So we got 10 questions all about you, Ethan, or EJ. What do you go by?
It depends on what people can remember. I hear EJ, it's like, hey, how are you? If I hear Ethan, it's, how do they know me? Like, I get a little scared.
Okay.
Like, am I in
so
trouble?
EJ is more personal. Okay, so EJ, you can cover these as quick as you want, or take your time and tell some stories. You can do rapid fire and tell stories on the other ones. So whatever you want to do here, and we're gonna get started. Number 1 is, what was your first movie going experience? So what movie was it? How old were you? And what do you think?
I think the first movie I remember going to was Aladdin.
Oh, cool.
It would have been the early 90s. It was at the Esquire Theater, which is no longer functional, but someone wants to reopen it. I hope they do, because besides the sign, that would be a great music and film venue.
For those that don't know, the Esquire is downtown Cape Girardeau. It's an old theater that's been shut down for a while, and it's just an old-timey, it's part of Cape. Really cool old-looking theater, and yeah, we want it to reopen.
It's also next to one of my favorite bars.
Well, that would be perfect. Bar in a movie.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So yeah, were you blown away? What were you? I don't know, how old were you, and what was Aladdin?
I mean, I was a little kid.
It's one of those things we got to look up. 96? I don't know.
Something like that. Maybe 95.
94? Well, I'll fact check it later. But so you would have been 5, roughly-ish.
I was very young. That was a movie I always loved. That was kind of how I got it as a kid. That's how I got introduced to Robin Williams.
Oh yeah,
who we all love.
The
best part about that movie is like they didn't really write a script for him. They gave him an outline, and they would just let him go with the microphone, and then they would try to draw to what he was saying.
Yeah, I remember I watched something or read something about that. I thought it was really cool how they had to match his expressions. They wanted to try to match his facial expressions and what he was saying with the animation. So I thought, yeah, you bring up a good point. Robin Williams, uber talented. So the Genie was cool.
Oh yeah,
That
kind of Genie.
Blew you away, yeah.
That's one of those movies. Like my dad didn't really like the kids' movies, but that's one of the few he would watch with us.
Right.
He's a big Robin Williams fan.
Yeah. Very good. That's a classic to have watched as your first movie going experience. That's awesome. Number 2, last movie you saw in theaters.
Avengers: Infinity War.
Cool. What do you think?
I liked it. It was a bit sci-fi, a bit superhero.
I thought it was well balanced.
It was well balanced, and I like how dark it was.
Yeah.
Because some superhero movies, it's like, the 6 main characters aren't going to die or get hurt. They're going to win.
Yeah.
You can always tell that when the
good
starts.
guy wins, and in this one, he doesn't.
This one, you're not sure. It's like, okay, well, nobody really won this game. What happens next?
Well, yeah, and what you said makes me think of toward the end, after Thanos leaves Titan, and Chris Pratt flies over Quill, whatever you want to call him. He flies over. Did we just lose? Like, is it a shock? And I think the whole audience at that moment was like, wait a second, did the Avengers just like lose the fight? Yeah. So anyway, that's a good one. I think that's a good one to have as your last movie. This is not on the list, but I will ask you this because I just thought of it. What's the next movie you're going to see in theaters? Do you have anything planned? Jurassic World comes out this weekend. I don't know when this episode will air.
I'm not a Jurassic Park fan.
Dang.
I didn't even like the first one. Sorry. Fight me.
Get out.
Fight me.
All right, so no plans for anything?
I would like to see Deadpool 2.
You got to go soon.
There's another one too. I can't remember what it's called.
That's all right. All right. Number 3, movie that made you cry or at least become emotional.
Schindler's List.
Ooh, I've heard that's very sad. I've never seen it.
It kills you like 3 times before the best scene at the end.
Dang.
It just every movie I've seen since that was sad did not have that effect on me because it's like this is sad, but I've seen Schindler's List. Nothing can make me cry like Schindler's List.
So that's the top. Cool. Number 4, worst movie you've ever seen. Do you have one?
I try to forget the worst I've seen. One that comes to mind is Get Him to the Greek. It was Russell Brand and Jonah Hill.
Dang, that was bad.
I
wanted to see that back.
It wasn't that it was terrible. It was so disappointing.
Oh yeah.
I thought it'd be hilarious, and I laughed twice. I think.
That's a funny thing. I've talked about this a number of times. Is when I'm talking to a guest about the worst movie, I feel like there's almost two categories and I think most people feel this way. Is number one category is it just really, really that bad? Like, is it just a terribly made, poorly written, poor acting, whatever it is, really bad movie? And number two, that's one category. The second category is kind of mixed in with your expectations of the film. What did you expect going in? What did you think was going to happen? And part of a person not enjoying a movie, to me, I think is what you think before you go in. So you could see a really really, really good movie, but if you have these crazy expectations that all your friends are telling you this is the best movie ever made, then you're already kind of set for that tone, and then it may not blow you away because you're expecting it to be the best thing ever. And then you could see a not great movie, just an average movie, and expect it to be really stupid, and you're just like, I'll give it a shot, and then you're really like, oh, okay. I heard a lot of people say that about Game Night, or it came out earlier this year. A lot of people said they thought it would look stupid, but they just give it a shot and then really liked it. So I do feel like it's almost, maybe I should change the question in the future, but I feel like there are almost two categories to the.
Well, like if you walk into, you don't go to Sharknado thinking you're gonna see an Oscar nominee,
right?
So hey, you go into Sharknado and you actually enjoy it, then it was a good movie to you.
Yeah.
But you go into something, it's like, oh, all the critics are talking about this, but then you're disappointed. Like Birdman, I liked Birdman, but the first time I saw it in theaters, I didn't like it.
Really?
When I watched it the second time, I liked it a lot better.
Sure. What I liked about Birdman is the fact that what is his name? Alejandro.
Alejandro Inarritu.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, that sounds right. I really liked his style of film. I like his style of filming in anything he does. Revenant too, but it's very unique. The Birdman is, in the fact that it gives the feeling, the sense that they never stop filming. Obviously, they do. You can't shoot a movie straight. But when they skip scenes, they always cut across the camera, panning across into a wall or a door or a building or some closing off.
It's hard to tell sometimes. The
camera goes blank for a second is the point. And obviously, in real life, after the camera pans, they cut and they shoot again and blah, blah, blah. But in movie time, and while you're watching it, it appears that it never stops. The camera never stops moving, and they don't have they don't really have scenes. It's just one continuous motion, so it's kind of limited. It all takes place in New York.
It's just like real life.
Yeah,
it's also circle around a play, and it's kind of like when you go to a play.
It is like a play.
It just kind of keeps moving.
Yeah, I just thought it was really cool, especially because that was his. Was that his first big film? I know he did some smaller things, but I feel like that was his first, like Hollywood
he did some
production.
Ones. Beautiful with Javier Bardem's really good.
Oh, well, was that before Birdman?
Yeah, that was one of the first. Because it was a foreign film, but it was one of the first times an actor in a foreign film had been nominated for Best Actor.
Oh, okay. So maybe I'll have to look up and see exactly how many films he's done. But that's I don't know. He's a really talented dude, and of course, The Revenant was really good too.
Oh yeah.
Well, we've gotten off track. Number. I think we're back at number 5. Movie you're embarrassed to say you've never seen. And I always preface this with every single guest. I always say, so it's not necessarily a movie that you lose sleep over or that you're truly embarrassed. Just a movie that people would be like, oh, dang, I can't believe that you haven't seen this before.
I've never seen Die Hard.
Oh, okay.
That is embarrassing, but...
No, that's fine. Any of them?
No.
Okay. That's a good one to have.
I finally have recently seen the Lethal Weapon movies.
Yeah, nice.
I've also never seen Citizen Kane, and I've not seen the latest Star Wars episode.
Oh, okay.
And I love Star Wars. I haven't seen Solo or The
Last Jedi.
Nope. I guess I'm not as interested in the newer ones.
Everybody, listen up. I'm gonna do you a favor right now. Don't see The Last Jedi, and maybe check out Solo. Solo is worth watching once, maybe in video, maybe like at home. I don't know that it's really truly worth paying for.
I am more interested in Solo than I am in Episode 7.
Yeah. Oh, you mean 8? Yeah. Last Jedi.
Oh, it would be 8. Yeah. See, I don't even know.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't realize you hadn't seen it. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't. Wow. Yeah. I think people are gonna get really tired of me bashing The Last Jedi, but when you hate something, you hate it, and.
It's your opinion. Screw them.
It is. Yeah, screw you guys listening to this. No, I just not a fan. I will move on before I start crying or throwing things. Number 6, favorite scene in a movie. You got one?
I can think of a lot. The one that I still get thrilled by is in The Dark Knight.
Oh.
When
Yes.
Batman on his little motorcycle.
His little motorcycle? He's not a 5-year-old. on Batman's tricycle.
I was trying to.
He's pedaling really fast.
His unicycle. He's a hipster.
Sorry, go on.
Well, what's left of the Batmobile becomes a motorcycle.
Yeah, that's why you said little, because it's smaller than the car.
Exactly. There
Got
you
it.
go. Glad you understand me.
They got it.
I loved when he goes under the truck and then manages to flip it, which stopped the Joker and at least got him arrested for the time being.
Oh, yeah.
It was a fantastic stunt.
Dude, freaking awesome. I'm glad you said that. By the way, when I said before the guest take that I talk less than it, that's a lie. It's a complete lie. I always talk just as much. But you bring up a really, really cool scene. That is, by the way, not that anybody asked, but that's my favorite movie of all time, Dark Knight. And in that particular scene, yeah, shocker. In that scene, they shot that downtown Chicago, and they actually flipped the tractor trailer in real life in downtown Chicago. It was not a set. It was truly Chicago. They blocked off the city, of course. And they had, I don't know why. I don't know if they only rented one or what, but I remember watching an interview with Christopher Nolan. He was like, we had one shot at this, literally, to get it right. And it worked out perfectly, of course, and they all celebrated after. But a friend of mine who lives in Chicago has an office right across the street from where they shot that. And so he actually got to see that, and he got to see the explosion when Joker blows up the guy with the bomb inside of his stomach or whatever. He saw the explosion downtown, and they actually had part of it. But anyway, really cool scene, and I'm glad you mentioned that one. Number 7, your dream co-star. So let's pretend you are a famous actor, and you get to choose somebody to be with you in something.
I'm going to say Khaleesi, otherwise known as Emilia Clarke.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I think I know who. Okay.
Well, then I can ask her out when we're not filming.
There you go. That's... okay, yeah, you'd have a sexual...
I got my celebrity crush, and I got my music
sexual scandal in like 5 seconds if you worked with her.
Me too.
Yeah. Not me. I'm talking about you.
Oh, gotcha.
Number... What are we on? 8. Favorite line in a movie.
I always think of several. I kind of drew a blank with that, but I guess the one I really like was Kill Bill, when at least Lucy Liu's scalp gets cut off, and that really was a Hattori Hanzo sword.
Oh, Lord. That sounds violent. I've never seen the Kill Bills.
They're very good. It's better than you would think. The violence is kind of cheesy, so it's not like, oh, that's disgusting.
And that was directed by...
Quentin Tarantino.
Tarantino, yeah.
Like someone gets slashed and blood like sprays out. It's like,
Jesus.
It's obviously not real blood.
He's like Fincher times 2 almost.
Maybe in a way. This is more campy. Like his movies feel like an old action flick than dark and psychotic like Fincher.
What's your favorite Tarantino film? You like Django?
Never saw it.
Okay.
I could have a whole paragraph on things I haven't seen yet.
Okay. That should be added to your list of embarrassed never seen. Number 9, guilty pleasure movie. So this is something that either tanked at the box office or that like most people liked disliked, that you liked. So
I like a lot of the parody movies. Those are always ranked bad, but it's like, yeah, they're supposed to be bad. It's
right, yeah.
Making fun of whatever's out.
Critics never give it a break with spoofs.
I also enjoyed the Lethal Weapon movies, which 1 and 3 were good. 2 and 4 I could have done without.
So do you have one in particular? Spoofy kind of movie?
Spoofy, I'd probably have to go with the scary movies, I think.
Scary movie? Okay.
I think Scary Movie 4
That's fair. Yeah, critics hate them, but a lot of people, obviously, they made a bunch of money, so.
Which, I mean, if you're critiquing a parody movie, you're...
Yeah.
Someone at
Quit.
Someone at Time Magazine or whoever does not like you.
Yeah, you need to critique it for what it is. Don't critique it as in, like, it's supposed to be a good movie. I feel like you'd think that would be obvious, but I really don't think people do it. Because they always give them crappy ratings. It's like, well, you can't rate it based on this movie.
You know what, Tommy? Your last article sucked. I want you to go to the theater and review Scary Movie 7.
Yeah.
Like that,
7?
You're in trouble if you have to review that.
Right, yeah.
You better start looking for a new job.
Mm-hmm. It's always the intern's job or something. Exactly. Number 10, the last question. Favorite movie of all time? Do you have just one, or do you have to with your dad on his episode, I think he started naming like 12 of them, and I was like, all right, Eric, gun to your head, you got to name one. And he says, pull the trigger. I'm like, come on, you can't just pick one. Anymore. Yeah, pick one. So can you pick just one favorite movie ever?
Lots of them like him, but I guess if I had to pick one, it would be like I want to say Fight Club because it's so there's so many layers to it.
Yeah,
it's like it's a movie about boxing or fighting. No, it's way more than that.
Yeah. If you think it's about fighting and you haven't seen the movie,
obviously.
Yeah. Not you, I just mean a person. So Fight Club? Okay, you can name some of the others.
According to the first two rules, we shouldn't
even be discussing that. Yeah, Brad Pitt's coming after us. Although he's, spoiler alert, he's not really real, so he can't come after us. But
that's right, it's somebody else.
So no more guns to your head. You can name more than one. Did you have a couple that you're like kind of thinking?
Like I said, Schindler's List was fantastic.
Okay.
Just because of... It's hard to imagine how bad the Holocaust really was until you see that. Like,
sure.
Oh my God, that was.
It made it terrible, feel real.
It felt real, yeah.
Yeah.
Inception was another layered movie I liked because it was so much going on.
I loved that movie and I liked it from the very first time I watched it. And everybody that I kind of introduced it to or recommended it to loved it, except your aunt. Your aunt was the only person that said didn't care for it, didn't like it. I was like, what?
There's a lot of things she doesn't like.
Fair enough. Yeah, okay, so we are going to move on. I believe that wraps it up for those. Who'd they play best? And today we're talking Christian Bale. This dude's played a lot of good characters, lots of good roles. So I'm going to name some of the what I call honorable mentions, and then I kind of have my favorite pick. This might be obvious to some people, but I'm going to go through them anyway. So he played Irving Rosenfeld in American Hustle, Dickie Eklund in The Fighter, Michael Burry in The Big Short, Moses in Exodus, Gods and Kings. He was Quinn Abercrombie in Reign of Fire. That's taking it back a few years. Dan Evans in 3:10 to Yuma. Alfred Borden in The Prestige. I really like The Prestige. That's one of my favorites of him. Trevor Resnick in The Machinist. Patrick Bateman, American Psycho. Now, if you're listening and you're a fan of Christian Bale, you should all know his absolute best, by far, film and role is, drum roll please, I don't even know if they can hear that, Thomas from Pocahontas. He played Thomas. Probably a lot of you didn't know that. He was Thomas in Pocahontas. It was animated, obviously, and that's a joke. That's a joke. It's not actually his best role, but I thought it was really cool. I was watching it not long ago, and I looked it up, and the crazy Jew-hating Mel Gibson was in it, and then also, we're talking about Jews a lot in this episode, and Thomas was played by Christian Bale. So
I had no idea.
Back to reality here. I got a name. Okay, so I'm gonna get this out of the way. My favorite pick is Bruce Wayne in the Dark Knight trilogy. But I will be fair about this. I don't think that was his truly best role, but that's my favorite role. So, and that's more because I love Batman and I love the movies and I love the other things about the film. It wasn't just him that made it great. Obviously, there were a lot of things that made that trilogy very successful. But specifically talking about Christian Bale here, I want to just mention a couple things. First of all, the dude was a friggin' lunatic in American Psycho, and he was amazing. A lunatic in a good way. Never seen anybody get into a role, I don't want to say never, but wow. He was like Jim Carrey in some scenes, and then he was like a freaking, I don't know, psychopath. Psycho,
he was an American Psycho.
He was an American Psycho, yeah. So amazing job there. Also, from a role, I don't know, taking on like sacrifices for a role, talking about that specifically, Trevor Resnick in The Machinist. This dude lost 63 pounds. So while filming, he only weighed 121 pounds. And if you've seen a picture or seen the movie of what he looked like, you could tell. I mean, I would have guessed more like 99 pounds.
It's just like Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
it's like Matthew McConaughey and
Dallas Buyers Club. Yeah,
because he was playing an AIDS patient, and he was because even when they started filming True Detective, he was still trying to get that weight back. He was still very skinny in that.
And Wolf of Wall Street, he was very thin too, because that was around the same time.
I believe he was
for Dallas Buyers Club. I think they came out the same year. But in The Machinist, he was also I believe that was the last movie he filmed before filming Batman Begins. So he went from 121 pounds to, I don't know, over 200, in a very short time, and he got really big. I got to look that up. I feel bad. It was either the first movie he did, like, before or right after, because he either lost a bunch of weight for that, or regardless, he gained it back, when they started doing The Dark Knight and stuff right after that. So I'm gonna look that up and get my facts straight on that. But I know it took a lot of sacrifice to lose. His diet every day for preparing for The Machinist was 1 apple and a small can of tuna. That was his.
Wow.
That was his breakfast, lunch, and like one of those meals. So that was everything he had. But I want to ask you, Christian Bale, do you have a favorite, or do you have any mentionables? Did you like him specifically in anything?
What amazes me with him is that I did not realize he was actually English until one of the Oscars. He won for Fighter.
Geez.
Like, he's British. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Because he played an American so well in Batman, and then American Psycho, which I don't recommend, but he was fantastic in that.
Yeah. No, definitely
My
don't.
name is Paul Allen.
Definitely do not watch American Psycho. Don't, unless you're just into bloody, gory stuff.
I was actually part of that was actually filmed in the hotel I stayed at in Toronto.
American Psycho?
Yeah, I was having a drink.
Cool.
Shocking.
A drink.
Drinks.
You tried alcohol for once, huh?
I did. It was kind of good. Quite good. And the bartender told me, "Oh yeah, American Psycho was filmed here." What?
What?
And he went to he took my phone and went to YouTube and showed me the scene, and I'm like,
Oh my god.
And I walked over and looked up, and yeah, it was
Like, that sounds cool, but then, like, when I think about, famously, Cape Girardeau, was home of Gone Girl filming. When I go to the bar, which is the restaurant from the movie that's in Cape Girardeau, it's kind of annoying because those people working there, it's almost like they're bragging. I mean, whatever, good for them. Tell people about it. Yeah, it makes the business better, but, like, it's almost kind of silly. People are like, oh, there is a movie film? They're like, oh, yeah, check it out. And they just kind of go nuts. And
Well, as a filmmaker, it is kind of nice that people in the Midwest still think movie making's cool.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it is annoying because it's like, yeah, the movie was, 4 years ago?
You got to get tired. Filmed 5 years ago. Yeah, it came out 4 years ago.
Yeah, and
I
I didn't
get
think the
tired
movie,
of people constantly talking about it, but
I didn't think
get
the
it.
movie was good, but it wasn't great.
What? Man, I loved it.
I did like it. It wasn't my favorite.
I loved my scenes. I loved watching my. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, my brother got to stand next to Emily Ratajkowski the entire time, so
Yeah.
I was kind of jealous of him for that.
Sure. I will say this about my very small experience was it was exhausting, and I wasn't even a real actor. Mm-hmm. I earned a lot more respect, or gained a lot more respect, I should say. Just being on set with them, seeing how crazy it is to film a movie, and Fincher obviously is getting zero sleep, because he's going back and editing after they leave the set every night. Anyway, that's just I have an appreciation for filmmakers after that. But I just thought it's funny. After you film a scene somewhere like in a small town like here, it's like, wow, everyone's gonna talk about it forever. And even I'm guilty of it to an extent, but even I'm not like just, hey, how are you? I was in a movie once here. Like, I don't like meet people and bring it up kind of thing.
Just because you're an extra doesn't mean you were. Who in Cape wasn't an extra?
Well, yeah, it was the majority of the town. It felt like.
I was in one scene, but I think they cut it out.
Oh, your car, right? You're driving?
Yeah, I drive past Ben Affleck when his father's getting in the car, and they cut that out.
Well, dang.
Which it didn't seem necessary anyway.
Darn you, Fincher. All right.
I was still there for like 12 hours.
Yeah, it's still fun being around it. Last segment here, it is the suggested reel. So this is kind of a different one for me. Usually I suggest something that's a bit older that maybe people forgot about, or something that wasn't like killer at the box office that maybe not a lot of people gave it a chance. But this is a recent movie. This is Kong Skull Island. It came out in 2017, so just last year. And it's not like it was a small movie. It wasn't an indie. I mean, it was a huge Tom Hiddleston, Samuel L. Jackson, Brie Larson, which is Captain Marvel, John Goodman. So big cast, big movie. It didn't tank at the box office or any means. So you might be thinking, why is this guy suggesting a movie that just came out less than a year ago and it did decent? Well, here's why. Most of the people I talk to, and most of my friends' circle, thought this was just going to be another cheesy, silly action flick. Not much content to it, not a lot, no depth, and it's just another King Kong. And I got to be honest, I was really surprised how good this was. I can't think of his name right now, but this goofy guy that's in a lot of Will Ferrell movies, I'll look it up. He actually is stuck on an island for quite some time, and they come and find him, and he's really silly and goofy. And John C. Reilly, I want to say, is his name. It just popped in my head. But anyway, he was really good. He was better than expected. Tom Hiddleston, who plays Loki in the Avengers, he was He was really cool in this movie. I hadn't seen a movie that he was quite like this in it, and Sam Jackson's always solid. I don't know. It's just I was really surprised that it was an actually good movie. It was suspenseful, and it wasn't just a silly, cheesy, like corny graphics kind of movie. So that is why I'm suggesting it to you, is because I didn't really give it a chance until a friend of mine told me the same thing. He said, "Hey, you probably didn't see this in theaters, but go watch it. Like give it a chance." And so I did, and I watched it a couple times actually at home. And so that's So if you might like an action adventure kind of flick, it's really fun. It's a fun movie. Of course, it's not the best as far as it's not like amazing dialogue or anything super deep, but it was just really solid. So did you? I gotta ask you, did you see it?
I did not.
That's fair. Well, that's why I'm suggesting it.
Well, there you go. I might have to watch it now.
Yeah.
The Peter Jackson one was good, but that was enough for me.
Yeah, 2003, right? Like with Jack Black.
Maybe 2005, because I remember playing.
You're right.
The video game on PlayStation 2.
You're right. I'm glad you said that. It was 2005. I don't know.
I thought that was good, but I think with King Kong, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
So much you can do without it being King Kong versus Godzilla or something.
Sure, and I feel you. I thought the same thing.
King Kong versus Superman. I'm waiting for that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh God, I just gave him an idea.
That would be one for the books. Yeah, don't let DC hear it.
A Hollywood producer's going to
again.
hear that, and they're going to make it.
Right.
Great.
Well, yeah, anyway, so I just thought it was better than I expected, and so, yeah, check it out. I want to ask you, do you have anything that you want to suggest for people to watch? Any favorites that you might think people haven't seen? Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. That's okay. If you don't have one, that's okay.
I mean, the movies I watch are a little more, I guess, intellectual, so...
Ah, you're a smarty pants.
In a way.
Okay. That's fair.
Maybe check out Grand Budapest Hotel was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one.
What's his name?
Wes Anderson.
Anderson, yeah. It was good. I actually watched that. I thought it was good as well.
I mean, some of his movies are good. It's a lot of style. The movies themselves are average.
It was a bit silly, I would say. Maybe not silly. Maybe silly is not the right word. Wes Anderson. It was just very Wes Anderson. He just has a specific style of filming, and if you're familiar with Wes Anderson and you like him, you'll like it. But if you're not, it might shock you a bit because it seems the way they cut. That's what surprised me. The way he cuts his films is it's interesting. It's the way they cut from one scene to the next is it's just different. Lots
of low angles and sliders. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks different. It feels different.
The timing feels weird. It feels like it's improper. You'd think that maybe I don't mean to offend anybody that really likes this or like if you're a big fan of this, but it almost looks like amateur. But it's not. But it almost appears that way in the way it's purposeful though. Like an amateur could do it and think they're doing something great. Wes Anderson does it, and it's purposeful in the way he wants you to feel when they cut to the next scene. It's almost like sudden in the way. It seems like they cut too quickly or they cut at the wrong time.
Very quick.
Yeah. And I like it. It's an interesting, he has a unique style, and good for him. Did you see Isle of Dogs? Because that was his most recent, I believe.
Another movie I need to see.
Okay, I haven't seen it. No,
Deadpool and Isle of Dogs.
There you go.
I need to see those.
Checklist, there you go. Anything else you want to add? We're on a final take. Anything that you didn't get out there you wanted to say? We are wrapping up.
It's too hot outside to do anything else.
Too hot outside to do anything else. So watch movies. That's our suggestion.
Stay inside, watch movies, pour a pint, or two, or three.
EJ, thanks for being here.
Yeah, my pleasure.
See you later.
Are you guys still here? Good. Make sure and stay tuned for this fact check because it is extra silly. And even though we didn't make any mistakes, my wife is going to try to dig some up on us. So have a little fun with this fact check number 8 on Ethan J. Norman. Well. Look where we ended up once again. Another fact check on another wonderful episode of the Real Take Podcast.
It was
with
hilarious.
Ethan J. Norman. You feeling pretty good after that?
Yes.
I think everybody's feeling pretty good after that.
He's so funny.
Oh, EJ. I don't even remember how many silly things we said. It's been a while since we recorded that episode, and I don't remember what all I said, but I know it was fun, and I know it was partially inappropriate, and I know it was full of shenanigans. So
that's the way it should be.
That's a recipe for success.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully everybody liked it. All of my 3 million listeners. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and get on with the old facts and check them.
Well, this I don't even know if you guys have planned on originally having it recorded.
No, probably not.
But the Bohemian Rhapsody I can't say it right. I can't say that.
The Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, I don't know how to say it.
Rhapsody?
Rhapsody. Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yes.
So, the actors who played the characters in
I like the way you said it better, though. Rhapsody. All right.
Cut it out.
Sody pop. Rhapsody.
So,
Coca-Cola. Okay, what?
Ethan was saying how he felt like they picked a really good...
Hi, Ethan.
I'm sorry, I should call me Jay, I guess. A really
No, you
good...
shouldn't.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't matter. Okay, what?
Thank you for cutting me off again. That they picked a really good actor for Freddy. And you guys couldn't think of the name. You kind of came up with the Rami part, but it's Rami Malek.
Rami Malek? What? Rami or
Rami.
Rami?
I don't know how it's said.
Malek, yeah.
Malik.
Okay. I was kind of I had the sound in my head. I knew it was like something similar to Rami. But okay, cool.
And then
So that's the name of the guy who plays Freddie Mercury in the upcoming movie this November.
And you were saying
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Leave me alone.
Okay, what?
And then you were also saying that you found out that the little boy from Jurassic Park, that he was in that, but you couldn't remember his name
Timmy.
or who he played. Timmy is actually Joseph Mazzello, and he plays John Deacon.
Okay. John Deacon. I feel like I should know who that is, but I don't. He's probably somebody in the band or something, but okay. I'm sure everyone listening, if they care that much about the Bohemian Rhapsody, that they'll know who that is. And they'll probably go see it and find out how awesome Timmy is in it. Okay, what's our next? Huh?
And then you guys moved on to sports pretty quickly from there.
Uh-huh.
But the Lakers came up because, I don't know, what is it called when they win? I don't keep up with basketball.
Well, it's good when they win. It's called good. The NBA championship?
Yes, I knew it was a championship. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to sound really stupid this episode. So, they defeated the Celtics.
Defeated
4-3.
them.
Well, I put defeated
They
here.
smashed them.
Smashed the crap out of them.
Okay. If anyone's wondering if it's late when we're recording this and we're tired, the answer is yes. I see I can't even spit it out.
They were, Lakers won 4 games, Celtics won 3. So.
Aha. Lakers, Celtics.
Yep.
Yeah,
And you guys were debating on another team, and now I'm going blank.
Magic.
The Magic, if it was that one. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay.
And so average movie ticket price for this year came up. It's actually $9.16. Sorry, I'm moving on from the Lakers.
2009?
2018 for
Wait,
this
what?
year.
Oh.
The average movie ticket price for our current year, 2018, came up. It's $9.16.
Okay. Everybody, if you're listening, all 3 billion of you, I'm going to do something special right now that I've never done for another fact check. This very moment. This is going to be quite epic. I'm making a phone call during the fact check. All right. Hey, say that again?
Nah.
Can you hear me? Okay, we are recording. We're recording your fact check, and now we are joined by Ethan J. Norman, author of many a book. Can you hear me?
Many a book.
Would you like to know how many things you got wrong?
Probably none.
It was all Alex.
The answer is yes, none.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. I've never done this before on the podcast, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just bring you in on the phone call and just say hi while we're recording the fact check. So I thought I thought it'd add quite a bit to the episode. It'd be pretty cool. Would you like to know any of the things that you got wrong? All the none of them?
No, because there's none.
There's none. Okay. This was probably the most pointless phone call in the history of phone calls, but I wanted you to be a part of the fact check here because we're talking about you right now.
Oh.
You guys actually did really good. Neither one of you said anything directly wrong. It was just not being able to remember something.
Yeah, we were actually pretty on point with our facts.
Yeah, I think I recall us there are things we didn't really remember, but yeah.
Yeah.
At least I wasn't gonna just say, oh, this movie came out this year.
Right. Yeah, we admitted if we didn't know something pretty much for the most part, I think. Well, we'll find out. We're about halfway through, I think. So we'll continue on. But yeah, I just wanted to say hi and let everyone hear your voice again through the phone.
Oh, how sweet.
By the way, you were hilarious. I loved this episode.
Yeah, thanks.
We were pretty funny. Some stories on movies. Well, everyone is probably getting a little bit bored of the phone call, and they want to continue with what we got wrong. Although there were none things.
Well, good to know.
Yeah, okay. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
All right, too. Bye.
Well, that was fun. And you didn't know I was doing that.
Mm-mm.
That was... I just said, hey, we're recording the fact check. Can I call you right now? Yeah, sure. That was funny. Okay, let's continue on after the Celtics.
Yeah, we clarified the movie ticket price, and
Okay.
I'm really thrown off right now.
It was $9.16 for 2018,
Okay,
and that's a lot of money.
you guys were talking about Gavin Hood in...
Gavin Hood?
Yes.
I've never heard that name. What? What's that? Who is that? Not, even she doesn't know. Alright. Where did that name come from? I'm not sure that... What?
Pause it. Well, after a little research, I remembered and found who he was. The director for X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Uh-huh.
So that movie came up, and the way that they got the script was mentioned. It was actually faxed to him from LA all the way to Australia, where they were filming.
You can send a fax that far? That's ridiculous.
I know, make it sound funny, but that is what happened.
Yeah, it was just kind of crazy because normally the script would be done well in advance of actually filming. And they said they had to get it like the night before, so made it a little bit tough on the actors. They could have had like 5 minutes to rehearse their lines.
Yeah, that would be really stressful.
Okie dokie, what's next?
And then you guys talked about, and I cannot say his name, so you're going to make fun of me.
Uh-huh.
Ken Jeong?
That's not that bad. Ken
Okay,
Jeong?
is that how it's said?
Yeah.
You were talking about how he went to med school.
Uh-huh.
And I actually didn't know this until you had shown me those little videos he does.
Crystal ball? Oh, yeah.
Making fun of people on Twitter, like, that ask him questions.
Oh, yeah.
Those are really funny, but I found the medical school he went to because you weren't sure. It was UNC School of Med. And he is 48 years old. I also found that because his age came up.
Huh.
So.
He kind of, I don't know. I started to say he looks older, but then he kind of looks young. I don't know. He's a mystery as far as his age. I guess he kind of looks 48.
He acts very young. He's very funny.
That's probably what it is.
Full of life.
Physically looking
Hey,
at him,
actually,
he
48's that old.
Well, no, it's not that old, but like
No, it's not.
he acts like he's 20, but he looks like, I guess, accurately with his age or so. So that's kind of throwing me off. That's probably what I'm thinking of. His personality, I don't know why. It just seems like very young human.
Yeah.
Okay. What else we got?
The difference in price between Avatar and Titanic. And like total grossing that they made.
Uh-huh.
And the difference was, I'm going to sound really stupid, $601,192,785.
That's very exact.
Yes.
Wow.
I did the math because I'm smart.
That's crazy they have those exact numbers, but you can't find a stat for freaking tickets sold.
Well, no, I looked up the numbers for how much Avatar made and Titanic made, and I did that myself.
Yeah.
So that's that came up, and I thought that was insane how much difference there is there.
Yeah.
And then again, moving on, tickets on average for
3D.
Gone with the Wind.
Uh-huh.
We've talked about this in other ones.
Every episode it comes up.
Yes, 23 cents.
Oh,
So.
that's how much it costed at the time?
Yeah, I remember the first time you guessed it was a dime.
I got closer with my guesses. I think I guessed like 21 or something, 22. So, yeah. The next episode when it comes up again, I'll guess 23 for sure this time. Is there anything else?
Yes.
Ethan said there was none. He lied.
But you guys did good.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, sorry, I got lost in what notes I was on. You guys were talking about Christian Bale's Blow Up.
Mm-hmm.
And
Ugly.
you couldn't remember who Bruce was. He's the associate producer.
Brucey.
And Shane was the cinematographer.
These are the people he was like talking to and yelling at and whatnot.
And Shane was adjusting the lights in view of Christian Bale. And the thing is,
For sure.
he did it multiple times
Oh.
before
Yeah.
he blew up. So,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he went too far with the blow up, but I can see why he would get frustrated because he had said
Little turd
things.
burglar shining the light in my eyes and I'm trying to
He had
yell
said
at
things
robots.
multiple times.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can
think
see
I'd
why
get a
he
little
got
mad
frustrated.
too.
Yeah. I can't
Maybe
say
not-
anything. I've
not
got a
that
bit.
mad.
I have a bit of a temper on me. I can't say much. So I
Especially
don't think
when
I'm
you're-
that mean.
When you're acting in big Hollywood movies, especially.
Oh yes.
What else is on the list? Are we close to being done?
Yeah. There's 1, 2, 3, 4.
More?
Yeah.
Let's just keep rolling.
Okay. Bond 25.
Yes, the next Bond
Danny
movie.
Boyle is directing that.
Uh-huh.
And then Aladdin came out in 1992.
Okay. We couldn't remember that came
And
out.
it came out, yeah, and VHS was 1993. I believe that was the movie that Ethan said he first saw in theater.
Could be.
Sorry,
I'm
I
sure
should
everyone already listened to it, so I'm sure they know that part.
Yeah, you're right about that. So next was the movie Beautiful came out. And the director for that was Alejandro Gonzalez Iñárritu. I can't say the name.
In your what?
And that came out in 2010. So,
Really?
yes.
I've never seen it.
It has one of my favorite actors, Javier Bardem.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Do we have anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Awesome. Well, that was pretty close to none.
Well, yeah, he didn't get anything incorrect, and
That
you didn't get
wasn't-
anything incorrect.
Yeah, that wasn't anything. My microphone's playing games with me. That wasn't anything too significant. It's not like we said, "Oh yeah, this movie made $5 million," and then it made a crazy different amount. It was just like little tiny stuff we couldn't think of.
Yeah, I'll probably be fact checking my fact check because I think I'm more incorrect than you guys were on things about forgetting where things came from. So
Oh well.
my notes were a little sloppy this time.
That's all right. All right. Well, thanks everybody, and we'll see you next week.